All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, hello, we are here.
Welcome to King's Court. You know who I am, Richie King, bad man of comedy, along with my co host, my cohort, my partner in crime, the commander, Alan Reed.
Hey,
And
glad
today
you
we,
all are with us.
yes, we are. Yes, we are. Today we got a fun show lined up for you all today. Our mystery is about Jesse James. I promised you we'd have it, and we got him. He's going to be,
Hmm.
well, we ain't really got him, but we got him.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
If we had him, that'd be a story and a half there. Now I'm
oh
telling you.
my, yeah, instant right there. We'd be rich too.
Yeah.
If we ever had that kind of evidence, you wouldn't be seeing us again. We'd be out of here.
We gone.
Yeah, we'd be gone. But
We'd be
no,
gone to white sandy beaches and blue water.
yeah, you never hear of us again. That's for sure. But so glad y'all can join us today. Uh, Shout out, share this thing out, tell your friends about us, your friends, your family, your colleagues, your loved ones. If you have loved ones, I don't know you. If you have loved ones, I'm sure y'all
Hmm.
have loved ones.
Yeah. Well, we think we got loved ones, but maybe we do, maybe we don't. I'm gonna get my light turned out and get it readjusted here.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. I'm still trying to share
Okay,
out
there
and
we
stuff
go.
too.
All right. Yeah.
Well, you guys can find us. We're on Comedy Bits on YouTube. Don't forget to check out Comedy Bits on YouTube. We're also on Comedy Bits on Facebook. We're carrying us on there. And you can find us on various BV Nation Facebook, BV Nation YouTube. You can catch us on there as well. And somebody need to turn the volume down on his phone. And
Hmm.
that's where you can find us at. We got some, news that we got to get to.
Oh,
You all know.
there's no what?
There's no link on the Facebook page for guests to watch the show.
Oh, there's no link on the Facebook page for guests to watch the show. BJ just
Can't
told
find
me
it on
Oh,
YouTube.
I was just on there. It's live.
it's on there live. Okay, she's not picking it up.
Huh. Huh. I've got it right here. Right there.
Okay,
Last week he put a link out.
okay. Yeah, she said last week you put a link out, but she can't find the link.
Hmm. No. Yeah, we should be live on there right now.
Okay,
Everybody check it out and see. Uh,
just passing that on to you there, buddy.
yeah, no problem. No problem. No problem. Yeah, well, like I said, we're live here, guys. We see Dean Cerny. He was the first guy I think. Thank you, Dean, for tuning in as usual. He's a good
Hey,
man. Very good man. He reminds me of that song, What a Man, What a Man. Stop it. Stop it. We're going to get banned off here before we even get started. All right, guys. Well, let's get into some news here real quick. Or no, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Womp, womp. You don't want to do that. First, as you all know, we like to do the missing persons. And we switched it around and we do it first. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That way, boom.
Aha.
There you go. Now, today we have Kristen Modafferi. Kristen Modafferi. Hope I said her name right. Forgive me if I
You
didn't.
got it.
Well, she is there. All right. Her date of birth is June 1st, 1979. Place, Dansbury, Connecticut. She had dark hair, shoulder length, brown eyes, height 5'6", 140 pounds, female, white. She has distinctive dimples in her face. She likes photography, painting, and creative activities. She was not known to have any vehicle generally used public transportation. She may have been carrying a green Jan Sport brand backpack with a blue mesh pocket in the front. Kristen was last seen on the afternoon of June 23rd, 1997. That's a ways back, guys.
Yeah.
At a coffee shop where she was working in the Crocker Galleria Mall in San Francisco, California. The then 18-year-old had completed her freshman year of college in North Carolina and had recently moved to San Francisco. That's plumb across country.
Yep.
To attend a summer school at the University of California at Berkeley. She was living in Oklahoma. She had not been seen or heard of since that day, June 23rd, 1997. If you had any information concerning this person, please contact your local FBI office or your nearest American Embassy or Consulate, the field office in San Francisco, or as usual, guys, you could submit an online tip. Now, I'm gonna put this last picture of her. It's not aged enhanced. I don't think.
Yeah, it
Doesn't
doesn't
appear to
look
be.
like it.
But she was 18 at the time, 18 and 20 years. There's really not much, difference between us when we get to be an adult. So, well, that's her. So if you guys got any information, I'm sure the family would love.
Oh,
to-
absolutely. Get some
didn't
closure for the family in this.
and it didn't give us a phone number at the bottom of the screen like it usually does.
Huh. Yeah, it doesn't. That's unusual.
Huh. I guess they want you to do it all online. Well, what if I don't want to do it online? Have you ever done on you? Maybe I
Yeah,
don't want to
what
do
if
it
we
online.
don't want to?
Yeah, you and our boss. All
Okay.
right. Dean Cerny time. Dean said, I named my youngest after Jesse James. Good man.
Okay.
Just have
I'm
her
not
go to
seeing
be.
any- I'm not seeing any of the comments coming up on my screen over here. So anyway,
Should be able. Well, I'm not putting them up.
oh, there we go. Got it.
You have to go. He said, have her go to BB Nation. I think she's already got it.
Yeah, I think
All
so.
right,
Yeah,
guys, BJ's in the house.
BJ made it. Yay.
UC Berkeley.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay. I covered
She's
that.
smart with the computers.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
I'm just limp myself by.
Oh,
All right.
I know enough to be dangerous.
As you know, guys, we're going to be in St. Joe, March 29th, toward the end of this month. Adult comedy up there at Time Out Event Center. Go on there and check everything out, guys. Show starts at 7 o'clock. It's adult comedy. You got James Riley. He's emceeing this bad boy. Roy Anthony. He's going to be there with us.
Ah, good old Roy.
Roy. Richard Montano, the godfather of comedy, a Mexican with an Italian name. Yeah. And, of course, your boy here, the fat one of all of us. That's me right there. Yeah. And come out, support the veterans. It's going to be a great afternoon. Lots of entertainment. You got want tickets on this thing. Tickets are sold online at Time Out Event Center. Online at Time Out Event Center. Okay. And also, I didn't have a chance to upload it, but also got another show coming up in Maryville, Missouri. Now that's almost 2 hours away from me to travel up there. It's a college town. One of our colleges is up there. A pretty good college. Anyway, we're going to be up there at the pub, and I'll have the information for you next week on that. But we got that all took care of now. And that's, I believe off the top of my head, that's going to be James Riley. It's going to be Roy Anthony. It's going to be David Scott. David Scott's going to join us.
Oh, David's be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we never heard David Scott, guys. He's the cleanest, funniest man you ever thing. He takes dad jokes. He make dad jokes funny now. He
does.
He can get after. J-Dub's scheduled to be on with us later on. So when he's available, he can jump on here with us. Also, guys, coming up pretty quick here in April, I'm going to be shooting a movie. Part of the movie's a scene or two is going to be shot out here at my residence, and then we're going to go out to L.A. And No, They Didn't is the movie. No, They Didn't movie here. It's an elaborate modern day heist, and we're going to be ripping off a casino of $2 billion that a bunch of churches were scamming, and they were putting in there to launder it. Okay, so we think we need it more than they do, so we're going to rip them off. And, your boy here, I play the lead construction guy, guy calling all the shots. So Roy, one of the scene worker, Roy gets a crew together and they mention my name. So he comes to Cameron, Missouri. Now it's not in Cameron, but it has the logo is coming to Cameron, Missouri. And he's going to come to my house and meet me. And I'm supposed to. The first part of the scene is I approach him. I'm burly but friendly. So I got to work on the friendly part. I got the burly down, but I got to work on the friendly part. Okay.
Well, you got to get friendly now. There you go.
Yeah. I got to start being a little nicer. So that being said, that's what's going to happen there. And I'm looking forward to doing the movie. Not going to get rich off it, but hey, woohoo!
Hey.
I'll be able to buy.
Well,
some
you never
things
know.
Yeah.
I've seen some of these movies on the Academy Awards here last week, and some of these independent films.
Yeah.
Trust me, you're all stand just as good a chance of getting an Academy Award as theirs will.
Oh, I've read that. Some of these guys, I knew a small time. Well, I call him small time while he was doing commercials. Of course, a lot of money. Of course, he did 2 movies, and he never had to work again.
Yeah,
he became an author.
See?
I was like, I want those roles. I want those roles.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's gonna be cool. We're gonna do that. So that's coming up. Okay, our first meme. This is, I believe, Dean Cerny sent me this, and of course, Dean Cerny sent
Good
me a
old
lot of good
Dean.
ones. Yeah, this is what happens if you cross Hellboy with Hollywood Hulk Hogan, brother.
Well,
Now I can, I can see that. I can see the
Yeah.
relationship. I
Yeah.
really can.
Yeah.
Hogan's got some explaining to do, or maybe Hellboy's got some explaining to do. I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. And our video one, you ever wonder what a midget A team would look like? I got it for you right here.
There you
Mini
are.
A team. Here we go.
Probably drive a minivan, don't they?
Oh man. Oh, that's not even right. Hell yeah, brother. Yeah. That ain't even right.
Fool! You fool!
I pay the fool.
You
Mr. T.
fool! You big fool! Oh, I
Naughty,
love it when a
naughty,
plan
naughty,
comes
naughty.
together when you don't have one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah. All right. Now let's go up here and check out a few things. All right, we got somebody watching from each one of our platforms today. That does not break
Yeah.
my heart. Not at all. All right. We got all that took care of. Again, like I said, waiting on J-Dub to come on. Now we're going to get into our mystery. Okay. And this is near and dear to my heart because I've been fascinated with the outlaw Jesse James since I was a little boy. Like
Mhm.
you, I've been to his house, his boyhood home in Kearney, Missouri. I've been to his grave site, both of them, one in Kearney, Missouri, and where he buried in front of his house. A lot of people don't know that he was buried in his front
Yes.
yard.
Yep,
He
he was until they moved him.
and yeah, and in 1902, I believe it was, they moved him to Kearney. And there's stories about how when they buried him in the front yard, they buried him upside down so the whole world kiss his ass. Which they don't know if that's true or not, but when they did open the casket, he was upside down when it came out of his front yard.
Oh,
don't know.
well, okay.
Okay,
Just saying.
hey, that's how you bury me upside down too. Kiss my
Yeah.
ass. But the story goes, as you all know, he was killed by one of the Ford brothers in his house in St. Joe, Missouri. Been by there, been everything, been everywhere that they said he's been. Okay, they said he shot in the back of the head while he was adjusting the picture. They said that was 1882, and he died. All right, so we're gonna present some of this stuff here. Now, the mystery is this: is he buried in the Kearney Cemetery in Kearney, Missouri? I don't think it's called Kearney Cemetery; it's like Mount Olive or something, but it's in Kearney, Missouri. Or did he go to Texas? Like, I'm gonna presume some evidence to you, and let you decide. All I'm gonna say is I'm gonna tell you some stories about the man. I had some of his family members working for me on a construction site. Okay, so we did it. We built garages. We did concrete, and his uncle was Jesse James. So this is one of his great nephews, and he worked with me and told me some stories about him. And because when I went to his house in Kearney, the one you've been to, his boy home, see no marbles and anything, but the lady was dogging him. She was a tour guide, but she just didn't like him. She didn't like him for nothing, talking rude about him and just all kind of, mean mouthing him. And she said he wasn't a hero, he was all just a mean killer bandit, and he did it out of spite. Well, the reason that he became an outlaw is quite simple. He was part of the guerrilla team that fought in Quantrill's Raiders and stuff like that. But the Pinkerton Agency, I know you all know who Pinkerton's is. They got the railroad contracts for a while on real estate contracts, and they were like an investigation team, kind of like the FBI back in the day. Pinkerton's, association, and they wanted a tract of land, and Jesse wasn't going to sell it. Or told his mom not to sell it, because it was given to him by their dad. The land was paid off. They didn't owe nothing on it. And so the Pinkertons decided they wanted him out there, and they weren't going to move, and they had a small skirmish. Well, they threw a bomb in Jesse James' his boyhood home and blew his mother's arm off. Okay. That provoked Jesse and Frank to go batshit crazy and join up with Cole Younger, his cousins Cole, the younger gang. And a lot of people don't know Frank was actually the meanest one of the two. Jesse would shoot you cold dead, but Frank would whip your ass. Okay. And he caught the bomber out behind the building and he beat the snot out of the guy. He was a pugilist. Frank was crazy. Frank was so crazy when he was an older man, he was at Gallatin, Missouri, and that's right up the road from you and I. And he was bidding on a wagon. Okay. And all of a sudden somebody out the back said, about time you bought one, you stole enough of them. And the old boy disappeared. I never seen that old boy again. Okay.
Oh boy, he was gone.
Yeah, those of you who don't know, Frank James turned himself in Jefferson City, Missouri, at the Capitol steps, where he proceeded to punch Pinkerton right in the face and knock him down some steps. Okay, surrendered his guns to the governor. Went on trial 3 different times, found not guilty 3 different times. Okay, so that's the backstory of that. But back to Jesse. Okay, they want to know if Jesse's buried there. Again, I think so, but I'm gonna give you some evidence. Okay, let's get started here. First thing I'm gonna bring you up is the history of Jesse. Okay, and I even got his DNA results. We'll go over them here in just a second with his DNA results. Add that to there. Okay, now we'll go up here a minute. Jesse Woodson James. He was born September 5th, 1847, and he was killed, according to this, April 3rd, 1882. He was killed in St. Joe, Missouri. And it says here he was an outlaw, bank robber, and train robber, guerrilla, and leader of the James Young gang, raised in Little Dixie area of Missouri. You and I are familiar with that area. We know where it was. Yeah. James and his family maintained strong Southern sympathies, which means they had slaves, and they had slave quarters on the place. When I went and seen it, they did have slave quarters there. Him and his brother Frank James joined the pro-Confederate guerrillas, known as the Bushwhackers, operating in Missouri and Kansas during the American Civil War, as followers of William Quantrill and Bloody Bill Anderson. They were accused of committing atrocities against the Union soldiers and civilian abolitionists, including Centralia Massacre in 1864. After the war, as members of the various gangs of outlaws, Jesse and Frank robbed banks, stagecoaches, and trains across the Midwest, gaining national fame and often popular sympathy despite the brutality of their crimes. James brothers were the most active members of their own gang from 1866 until 1876. Good 10-year run there. When, as a result of their attempted bank robbery in Northfield, Minnesota, several members of the gang were captured or killed, they continued in crime for several years afterwards, recruiting new members, but came under increasing pressure from law enforcement seeking to bring them to justice. On April 3rd, 1882, Jesse James was shot and killed by Robert Ford, a new recruit, and his cousin. Okay, I find how you do, and your cousin killed you. A new recruit to the gang hoped to collect a reward on Jesse's head and promised amnesty for his previous crimes. Already celebrated in life, James became a legendary figure in the Wild West after his death. Now, the problem with this is, this was vigilante justice that got him killed. If he was killed, it was vigilante justice that did it because the governor put a bounty on his head. Okay, I liken this to Bonnie and Clyde, how they killed Bonnie and Clyde with an ambush. Okay, popular portrayals of James involved said he was Robin Hood, robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. Are cases of romantic reversions, as there is no evidence. That is wrong. I'm going to give you evidence that proves he did share his loot. Okay, because I got it from the word of mouth of his own family. Okay, so we got on. Here's a picture of his house where he grew up. This is now a museum. Commander and I both been in this museum. You see down here to the right, this is where he was originally buried in 1882. That's a sweet ass headstone, just for the record.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said looked like. One of the guys that worked for me looked identical, looked just like that right there. One of his great nephews. There's a bank in Liberty, Missouri, one of the banks that they robbed. It's a museum, and it's got a lawyer's office in it. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that. There's there's another historical site. Right there is a spot in St. Joe, Missouri, where the house was shot. It is now a flat place, and you stand right in the same location. Pretend there's a house over it, and there's a living room there. That's where he was shot.
Yep.
That's the house.
They dug that. They moved that house to that location right there.
Yes, this house is on in St. Joe down on. It's part of the grounds of the Petit house. Okay, but this is the house that he was shot in, but it was sitting back there where it was sitting right here on this location. Okay, and he lived there under the name Howard. Okay, there's kind of depicting of what happened there. He stood on a chair. There's where he was, how it was decorated and stuff. We're in front of his house. When the old fence around, that fence is no longer there, by the way. That looks like the guy that worked for me. There's the signature. Back to the house again. Okay, so we got that stuff. Took care of there. Historical contents of the goings-ons here. We're going to go down here to the aftermath because I got a lot to get through. His death. With his gang nearly annihilated, James trusted only on the Ford brothers, Charlie and Robert Ford. Although Charlie had been out on raids with James, Bob was an eager new recruit for protection. James asked the Ford brothers to move in with him and his family. James had often stayed with their sister, Martha Bolton, and according to the rumor, he was smitten with her. By that time, Bob had conducted secret negotiations with the Missouri governor, Thomas Crittenden, planning to bring in a famous outlaw. Crittenden had made capture of Jesse Brothers his top priority. In his inauguration address, he declared that no political motives would be allowed to keep them from justice, barred by law from offering a large reward, which he did anyway. Okay. He had turned to the railroad and expressed cooperation to put up a $5,000 bounty for delivery of each of them, an additional $5,000 for the conviction of either one of them. Well, he knew damn good well there wasn't going to be no conviction.
Yeah. Hey, we got people putting posts up here. Slick, they can't see anything that you're showing. All they see is the flag.
Oh, yeah. Well, hold on a second. What the heck?
Yeah. Picture's not on the screen. Pictures, just me, can't see, pimp.
Huh. Well, it's on there. Let me remove it. Add it back. How about now?
Okay. Somebody shoot a comment if you can see what's on the screen there.
Oh, man. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Nothing's showing up there.
Well, why ain't it showing up?
Yeah, BJ says, nope, nothing's showing up.
Well, I got her on there. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, just me says still not there.
Okay, well, are you good now? Okay. BJ just said I'm good now.
Okay, wonderful.
Dean, are you seeing? I'll go back and show the pictures
again. Me said, there you go. Okay.
I'll go back and show the, how about now? Am I still on there? You're going to watch the comments where I can't see them, brother. Okay.
Yeah, it's there. Okay.
On April 3rd of 1882, after eating breakfast, the Ford and James's went into the living room before traveling to Platte City for a robbery. From the newspaper, James had just learned that the gang member Dick Little, which would be his cousin, had confessed in the participation in Wood Hyatt's murder. Wood Hyatt was his cousin. Matter of fact, my son, ironically, lives in Wood Heights, Missouri. Spelled different.
Yep.
But it's where he was killed. He was suspicious that the Fords had not told him about it. Robert later said he believed that Jesse had realized that they were going to betray him. Now, remember what I just told you. He thought that he knew he was going to betray him. Okay, this feed into the conspiracy. And he says there, instead of confronting him, James walked across the living room out of nowhere, laid his revolvers on the sofa. He never took his revolvers ever off. He then turned around and noticed the dusty pitcher on the mantel and stood on a chair to clean it. This was in St. Joe, Missouri. Robert Ford
Mhm.
drew his weapon and shot the unarmed Jesse James in the back of the head. Jesse's 2 previous bullet wounds and partially missing middle finger served as positively identify the body. Okay.
Well, apparently when he was straightening up the picture and the bullet went through the back of the head, it passed all the way through and hit the finger.
No, he lost his tip of his finger in the war in the Civil War.
Oh, I misunderstood what you said there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he blew
I
that off
stand
in the
corrected.
Civil War. That went through. The bullet lodged in the house, which fell out, and they put it back. They got a replica bullet in a hole
Mhm.
where he got shot. Okay. All right. The
Okay.
rumors of survival. Now here we go. Remember, they said he took his guns off. And Jesse never took his guns off. And this is how he knew they were going to shoot him. So they planned the body, and we'll get into all that here in a second. Rumors of survival proliferated across as soon as the newspapers announced his death. Some said Robert Ford killed someone other than Jesse in an elaborate plot to allow him to escape justice. These tales have received little credence then or since. None of James' biographers accept that as plausible. The body buried in Kearney, Missouri, marked Jesse James, was exhumed, and we'll get to all that. When we get on to this other part. I want to skip down here. Introducing to you James Frank Dalton. James Frank Dalton claimed to be Jesse James, and he lived to be 101 years old. Now, I'm going to go up here and switch screens on you guys because I got to get out of this one here. Okay. And I'm going to go up here and add James Dalton. I'm going to introduce you all this guy here. This guy he swore up and down he was Jesse James, had facts that no one else had. He could have stole them. We don't know. Okay. If my name was, Dean says, if my name was Dick Little, I go by Rich too. Yeah, that was his name, Dick Little. Don't think they did have a sense of humor back in that day. Okay, here we go. Introducing you guys to Frank James Dalton. He claimed to be Jesse James. This is Frank James Dalton, allegedly March 8th, 1848. He died August 15th, 1951. It got him down here as an imposter. A centenarian who drew notice late in his life by successfully claiming to be two living famous Western historical figures. First, he said he was lawman Frank Dalton. And then he claimed to be the outlaw Jesse James. In the late 1930s and early 40s, James Frank Dalton attracted considerable attention by telling tales of being Deputy U.S. Marshal Frank Dalton, 1859-1887, after historians confronted him with compelling evidence to the effect that he definitely could not be the same Frank or Marshal Frank Dalton, starting in 1848 in Lawton, Oklahoma. He took up claiming to be Jesse James. Instead of James Frank Dalton, was allegedly over 100 years old at the time of his first public appearance, and Jesse James of Lawton claiming to be with an affidavit that he had been a member of Quantrell's guerrillas during the Civil War, thought that he convinced several people of note, such as journalist Robert Rook. Exclusive research and historians has never been able to verify Dalton's claims, and recent DNA evidence supports the traditional accounts of 1882 death. This report has been heavily disputed, and we'll get into that in just a second. James Frank Dalton died in Texas in 1951. Okay. Now, he claimed to be Jesse, and this is kind of a long deal, but not really. I'm going to go over this here. Following the death of Jesse James, hoaxer William John James in 1947, Oberus Lee Hawk, who claimed to be the grandson of James Frank Dalton and later renamed himself Jesse Lee James III. The first Jesse James wasn't even named Lee. He was Woodson, Jesse Woodson James.
Yeah.
Anyway, engineered Dalton's adaptation of the new identity of the Old West outlaw Jesse James, signing himself as James Frank Dalton, the old man, on April 24th, 1948. Now, this is what, 60 years, 50-some years after he died? Okay. Executed an affidavit recounting the details of the historical Jesse James birth and claimed to be the famous outlaw. The affidavit was published with additional historian information about James claimed in the newspaper and Lawton Constitution the following months. On May 22, 1948, Dalton made 2 public appearances in Lawton Businesses District, giving speeches at each location. Dalton posed as Jesse James in front of the crowds and spoke about what life was like in the days after the Old West. The fed into not infrequent claims that Jesse James had faked his 1982 death and then adopted an alias. And Dalton's account incorporated many aspects told by prior Jesse James imposter, William John James. James excerpts Homer Croy went to Lawton and found Dalton unable to answer many questions and authenticate James should have known, but Hawk continued to promote Dalton as Jesse James. On hearing the claim, Ruby Turley, the manager of the Merrimack Caverns in Missouri, I've been there, Merrimack Caverns, arranged to bring Dalton to his site and launch a major promotional campaign. It was there that in June of 1949, Dalton was interviewed by journalist Frank C. Rurik, who then published a 3-article account of the interview. Dalton, claiming to be 102 years old, told Rurik that the man shot and killed in 1882 and identified as Jesse James was actually a similar-looking house guest of James named Charlie Bigelow. Now, we've heard that name a lot, you and I have.
Before.
Yep. And Charlie Bigelow, those don't know, was also part of the gang off and on. He's kind of a snitch bitch, they said, so he wasn't really trusted. Let that feed. He wasn't really trusted. Maybe they killed him, put him in the grave. Don't know yet. Dalton related that after Bigelow's murder, he fled to Kansas City, Memphis, New Orleans, Florida, and then Brazil, and then later to Mexico. He claimed to have eventually returned to Oklahoma, where he was elected to the territorial legislature under the name James Frank Dalton before relocating to Texas. Dalton's account of himself and Jesse James did not hold up under questioning from James' surviving relatives. A debate between supporter Rurik and the critic Croy was broadcast nationally by CBS. On September 5th, 1949, Turley, along with cavern owner Lester B. Dill, hosted what was claimed to be a 102nd birthday party for Dalton as Jesse James, also inviting James Russell Davis of Nashville, who claimed to be Cole Younger. Cole Younger died. That was not Cole Younger. He was no. Cole Younger, 110, said Oklahoma man who claimed to be known as both outlaws was invited and made a positive identification, while in 1930s era Oklahoma bank Rob was also invited. The next day, Dalton was posed for the photographer and another Old West pretender, Brushy Bill Roberts. I will get to him, guys. Brushy Bill Roberts. Remember that name? That's supposed to be Billy the Kid. I think that was Billy the Kid. Anyway, we'll get into that later.
That was Billy the Kid. Yeah,
I think it was, and I can prove it. Anyway, Brushy Bill Roberts claimed to be Billy the Kid, and the two would offer mutual support for each other's claims because Billy the Kid and Jesse James kind of rode together. They say Dalton died August 15th, 1951, in Granbury, Texas. And I'll get to that in just a second. I'll show you his grave. And the post-mortem examination was said to have found several of the distinctive body marks features that the real Jesse James was rumored to have, including numerous bullet wounds, a rope burn around his neck, and a damaged fingertip. Remember that, a damaged fingertip. That's what Jesse blew up the end of his finger, messed with his gun in the Civil War. Okay. So now some of this evidence is starting to kind of make sense. All right. It says, including numerous bullet wounds, rope, and damaged finger, and that he had no evident chest wounds, which Hawk explained by claiming skin grafts had been performed. Dalton's death certificate recorded that the name of the man claimed to be Jesse Woodson James. The name also appearing on the gravestone erected at his burial site in Granbury Cemetery, 1983. In 1966, Turley offered a $10,000 reward for anyone who could prove that Dalton was not Jesse James. After a daughter-in-law and grandchildren, which would be a grandson, of the real Jesse James presented their evidence, it ended in a court case in which they were ruled to have satisfied the burden of proof, and Turi was ordered to pay the reward. The decision was upheld on appeal, but Turi died in 1972, never paying a dime. Okay, so before we
Well,
get
now
any
something tells me, my mind's racing here. If they ran DNA to try and prove that that was Jesse James buried at Carney, or he's buried in Texas, did they exhume that body in Texas and run DNA test on it?
no,
Because that is one way to eliminate
Mhm. Okay,
whether that was Jesse James or not.
right. Well, guys, welcome to the show, J-Dub. How you doing, brother?
Hey, J-Dub, what's going on?
I'm good, fellas. Long time no see.
Yeah. Welcome to King's Court, your debut. King's Court.
I know, right? Right?
Yeah.
It's not my world premiere, but it's my premiere on the King's Court. Which thank you, Mr. Pimp. We appreciate you inviting me onto the show this evening, man. Do appreciate it.
Whatever that's worked to you. Whatever that's worked to you. Yeah. Okay, now here's the grave, Jesse James' grave when he was buried. When they so-called killed him in 1882. This is out in his family home. Okay.
Okay.
When they dug him up in 1902, they moved him to Kearney Cemetery. Now, he didn't have the his Confederate headstone there at the time. He just had the flat one. What's the one in his front yard, by the way, is a good-looking headstone.
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me they couldn't get the most famous outlaw a better headstone than this? It's kind of raggedy for a man of his quality. The guy I just read about, James Dalton, who claimed to be Jesse James, this is his headstone in Texas. That's a fine headstone, too.
Yeah.
Okay. And here's Jesse James associated with Texas in multiple ways, including the legendary burial site in Granbury, Texas. All right. And this here is an article where the former sheriff of Hood County thinks the real Jesse James died in Granbury, Hood. And this article was written in August 1966. There's Frank Dalton. He claimed to be Jesse James. He's got a finger missing and everything like that. So now I've laid out to you the facts of which they know him. Now, I had one of his relatives work for me on my construction site.
Okay.
It looked identical to Jesse. It was freaking eerie, except he was an inch taller. Jesse's 5'9". This dude, the guy working for me, was 5'11". Well, so 2 inches taller. Right? My math sucks. Anyway, he looked just like him. So I sat down one day. We were having a cold beer. I said, "Hey, man, is it true you're related to the outlaw?" He goes, "Yeah, it's my uncle, my great uncle." I said, "Man, I'm fascinated by that dude. Can you answer me some questions?" He said, "Yeah, what do you want to know?" It said, "Is he buried in Kearney Cemetery?" And he looked me dead in the eye and said, "Well, that's what they told the family." I said, "Well, who?" He said, "Well, when they did in 1995, they dug him up, did some DNA, and they said yes." He said, "But some of the family don't think so. Some of the family thinks that the DNA they took wasn't Jesse's." Okay. I said, "Well, what makes you think that?" He said, "Well, when they buried Jesse in his front yard, or when they buried somebody in the front yard, they took some teeth out and put them in a Tupperware bowl, okay, and a hair, and they buried him with him. When they moved him to Kearney Cemetery, they buried the Tupperware bowl with the hair and teeth in it right back in the original grave. When they did tests on him in 1995, they were inconclusive. They were freaking out. They couldn't figure it out. It just didn't look right. They said that's what they said. It didn't look right." Now I'm 3 beers deep now. I'm fascinated by his story. I'm thinking he's either completely full of shit or he's right. Okay, and who better to tell you than the family? And so he said, "So how did they figure it out?" He said, "Well, they went back and dug up the Tupperware bowl that had the teeth in it, and they said they confirmed it made a match. Well, the teeth would match the body if they came from that body, okay, and the hair. Then, so they put that out there, and that made a big old giant controversy. And finally, one of Zerelda, be Jesse's sister, one of her granddaughters had a son, and they put him in and they took the mitochondrial DNA, and they said they're pretty sure. You hear what I just said? They're pretty sure that's Jesse buried there.
Mm-hmm.
Even though people in Texas swear that that's him. Now remember, I just read to you, he had some of the same markings that Jesse had. Of course, Jesse's supposed to die at 34. Maybe he got markings from other places. At 34 years old, living on, yeah, I've got quite a bit more marks than I had at that age too. Okay. And so the mystery is, was he really buried there? I think I'm 60% sure that he was, but their own family said that They're not sure. Some of them believe he is. Some of them absolutely believe he's buried there. It's a sad deal, and Jada didn't make beds. But you can't make no bed. Look at you. Tupperware from the 1880s. See, that's what I told Shelly. I said Tupperware. Man, maybe they made like a butter dish with a lid or something. That's redneck Tupperware. I don't know what the hell Tupperware come out of. So I'm going to present to you now the results, the DNA results.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
And they're not they're idiot proof. So even I can't mess this up.
Allegedly.
Yeah, supposedly. Okay. All right, let me go here. Okay. This was printed in July 4th, 2019. Mitochondrial testing is negative child of geology, blah, 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 screw all that shit. Go down here. Right here. In the case of Jesse James remains. In the case you were paying attention to genetic geology news in 1996, because they dug him up 95, September 95, it wasn't until 1996 before they got him information. Okay. All right. Or many years of research and published and discussed. Here's a quick recap of the Jesse James case. Jesse James, famous outlaw in the United States, approximately died in 1882, except that the rumors persist that his death was staged and that the body was buried under a name in Nebraska cemetery wasn't his. In 1995, the body was exhumed. DNA was recovered from 2 teeth, okay, and a hair from strands recovered from the original burial site, which fits perfectly in what the family member told me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, next up, getting the DNA sample from a known relative and comparing it to all the samples. Here's what the mitochondrial DNA came. Jesse had a sister, Susan. That's fact. You looked that up. With whom he would have shared the exact same mitochondrial DNA signature they both received from their mother, Zerelda. As soon as the tree became taken from this report at a journal on forensic science, Susan had daughters and several generations, thus preserving the mitochondrial DNA until the last in line had a son who also had gotten the same mitochondrial DNA from his mother. Here's the chart. There's Jesse's sister. There's Jesse and his sister Susan. 1, 2, 3 generation. 4, 5. The grandson of the daughter took it, gave hair and everything. So that son took the mitochondrial DNA test, and guess what? His mitochondrial DNA was an exact match to the DNA sample pulled from the burial site of Jesse James. Meaning that those two
seals it right there.
Pulled from the original from the burial site of Jesse James, meaning that those two individuals share the same same maternal lineage. Maternal, guys, not from Jesse, not from the dad, from the mother, who gives you most of your DNA anyway, right? The maternal lineage, as explained in the abstract below, where research was published, that's about to close the case. It should be closed for good. And then it has down here who all, had their hands in the, and everything, and legal stuff like that. So, like Paul Harvey, now you know the rest of the story. So,
yeah.
Yes.
The only problem I have with that is how they collected it from some teeth that was, buried, and a hair that was buried. However, whoever they took it from, obviously matched him. So, when they brought the real life person in there and took their DNA, to me that eliminates all doubt that Jesse James is buried in the Kearney Cemetery in Mount Olive. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, those teeth, if they came out of Jesse, okay, and those particular teeth, whether they were canine teeth, eye teeth, molars, whatever, you could slip them back into the socket and they could match them up and tell you if they came from his jaws or not.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, forensic science is pinpoint on. I sat through enough autopsies in law enforcement years ago, and I know it's come a long ways in all these years. They would be able to pinpoint, yep, these teeth, they match right in here. Bingo, yep, they come out of this corpse right here. So
they can match it down to the grooves, just like they do with ballistics. It's the same exact principle.
Your teeth is a better source of DNA than your bones.
Yeah.
Right.
So if they're taking teeth, they're getting the cream of the crop. Okay.
Yeah, they can drill right into the tooth and go right to the center of it. And I mean, it's like cracking open a treasure trove when it comes to DNA.
Yeah. Yep. Now, could a teeth? The original story was the sheriff had some teeth that came out, and he kept them in a Tupperware bowl in his desk, and then he went and buried them. And, I mean, you got a long lineage of things. Now, when I talked to the gentleman who worked for me, his first name will not be divulged. I'll just go as D. His name was D James. Okay. He was actually a blood relative. And a lot of stories about Jesse. Was he a Robin Hood? Was he a thief? Was he a stone cold killer? And the answer was yes. Yes, he was every one of those things.
Fill in the blank.
And they said on there, and it kind of aggravates me, they put online he was not a Robin Hood. Well, got a story for you guys. And this was verified by his entire family, including a guy named Lefty James, who only had one arm, hence the word Lefty James, okay, which would be Jesse's nephew. And the story went like this. They were outside of Princeton, Missouri, which is up north. If you've ever been in Missouri, it's up north toward the Iowa border. Okay. And they kept coming through. They kept riding through there. This widow come out and said, boys, hate to tell you, but you're going to have to stop coming through here. And Frank said, why we got to stop coming through here? So, well, they're taking my home from me, Frank. I'm no longer going to be able to stay here. And you guys are going to have to go somewhere else to stay. He goes, well, how much you owe? And she told him. He goes, hold on just a second. He passed a hat amongst the fellas. He come up with the money, handed it to her. She said, now, listen to me very closely. I want you to get a receipt. She's like, get a receipt. You just trust me, get a receipt, get the deed to the house. Make sure it's signed. Okay? Do that for me, and I'll be back. So they rolled off. She went in the house, didn't think anything about it. Here come the banker with the sheriff. As you know, back in that day, the banker always rode with the sheriff. Okay? They come out there. They said, well, you got to go. He said, well, what do you mean I got to go? She goes, you got to go. He goes, because I got the money. And you said, as long as I got the money, when you show up, I can stay. Banker said, well, if you got the money, let's have it. So she wrote it. He counted out the money. He wrote out the deed and the receipt and everything. So thank you. She kept her house. They rode up over the hill. About 5 minutes later, she heard, bang, 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 bang. Jesse and James and the guys rolled back to her. She says, everything's took care of? He said, yeah. They had the money. They took the money and gave it back to her. They went and slept in her barn. Never had a problem since then. Okay. So yes, he gave to the poor, but it wasn't about shooting your ass either. Okay. Another story goes
they gave a lot of people a lot of money because that was where they picked up fresh horses, a place to have sanctuary to rest up and go on. And so, yeah, and they're not going to rat them guys out. Money was hard to come by in those days. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
It absolutely was. It absolutely was. And then,
especially the years first after, with the whole reunification thing at the time too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And still they hated the Yankees anyway because they were all Southern sympathizers. So yeah, they're going to take the Yankee money and they're going to spend it.
Yeah. And as the stories all went there, Frank was actually the meanest one of the two. Frank was a pugilist. He would whoop your ass instead of shoot you. Jesse would blow your damn brains out. He didn't care. Okay, he didn't have time to play with you. But Frank liked a little exercise. He stayed in shape and he was a fighter. Well, the story goes that the Pinkerton agent that blew his mom's arm off when they threw the bomb in their house and made him like that, Frank went and found the guy, took him outside. The guy was shooting at him. Frank walked through the hell of bullets. We got ran out of bullets. Now, didn't get hit one time and commenced just a beating. I mean, he was doing MMA before MMA was even recorded. Okay. He beat this dude, broke his arm, his jaw. He beat this guy senseless. Okay. And then killed him with a gun and then shot his ass. Okay, after he beat him. I mean, that's like the ultimate ass whip. You get your ass whipped, then you get shot. I mean,
damn. You get shot.
Yeah, one or another. And so, and then, of course, Frank and Jesse pulled a gun on each other lots of times. And Cole Younger did 20 years in penitentiary and things like that. But I was still off to, I don't remember, I told you guys this, about Gallatin. But yeah, they brought him to Gallatin. He was at the Squirrel Cage jail in Gallatin, Missouri. They wanted to get him for a Winston train robbery. And they had him in the Gallatin house. Now it's an old house. I think still there. I think it's up on Vine Road there in Gallatin. I think it's a big 3-story house. Anyway, had court upstairs. And the judge was worried. He goes, man, now this is after Jesse was done gone, right? They had a lot of gunplay. The old judge was worried about gunplay, and he's worried about Frank and his boys coming and shooting the place up. So he kept asking Frank, is there going to be a problem? Frank said, well, I don't know. Am I going to jail? The judge's like, Frank, I mean, I don't know. I ain't made my decision. Frank's like, I think you did make a decision, Judge. I think you already did. And so he said, no, I'm gonna leave it up to the jury. And we'll see. He never did say he didn't have a gun. He didn't have one, but he didn't let the judge know that, right? I think, cool. Guy's on bail and got a gun. That's awesome. So anyway, they found him not guilty. In 3 different trials, Frank James wasn't guilty of anything. They blamed it all on Jesse, right? And he lived out his life as an old man. And then Frank James was cremated and buried in a different cemetery with his wife. His wife kept him in a safe. Imagine that, a bank robber being kept in a safe when he was cremated. That's
irony at its finest.
Yeah, the irony now. And I think she, I don't know if she did it on purpose or whatever, but so my conclusion, and this is just mine, is I think, yes, he is buried there, even though the family is kind of split. And I mean, they're literally split right down the damn middle. Some of them said, well, I don't know if he was there or not, but we were told he was there. Some of them believe he went down to Texas. There's photos online of Jesse James' mom, or a lady claimed to be Jesse James' mom, with her arm missing, with the same brooch that his mother, the only brooch Jesse James stole it. He know where he stole it from. He gave it to his mother. Is the only one like it. It had a picture of her down there. A picture of this guy signing in under Jesse James, under his club membership. Okay. These things are in Texas. Could it have been made up? Yes, it could. But from all that, my determination is, yes, he's buried in the Kearney Cemetery in Kearney, Missouri. He was shot in St. Joe, Missouri by Robert Ford. That is my assessment. You guys can believe what you want. There's some compelling evidence that this guy was Frank. J. Frank Dalton claims he was Jesse. I don't think so. What say you?
I think he's buried in Kearney. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on back then. Somebody trying to maybe, get their 30 seconds of fame and glory, maybe, to have some bragging rights. But I don't know. It's like the old poem. I can't remember. I'm going to mess it up pretty good about the dirty little
coward shot
Mr. Howard. Yeah,
put Jesse in his grave.
Yeah, and put Jesse in his grave. So yeah, I think he was shot and killed in his house in St. Joe, and they had his funeral, and they took him down, buried him on the old home place down there in Kearney, until they exhumed his body and moved it out to Kearney to the big cemetery. And the only reason they moved it in 1902 is because they were afraid of grave robbers coming along and digging up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People are pretty sick. And so, I think that was the deal.
Yeah.
I second that.
Yeah. That's pretty well. Amazing story. I mean, it's convincing.
It's a great conversation piece, Yeah.
It is. But when I was a little boy,
he ain't Billy the Kid. That's all there is to it. He ain't no Billy the Kid.
No, that one there we're going to be doing. I could almost prove that Billy Kid didn't die. Billy Kid got to be old, and we'll go over that one coming up sometime too. I'm more convinced because the fact they won't produce DNA. New Orleans won't let him be. They won't let you dig him up.
Yeah,
not New Orleans, New Mexico won't let you dig him up. What do you got to hide? We dug up Jesse.
No.
They dug up Jesse. Okay, and so they were so confident Jesse was there, they dug up. Evidence or not, from teeth or hair or whatever. They
change all their history books down there, don't you see? So if Billy the Kid is actually buried there, then what are you afraid of? Just dig up. Let's do a DNA test, find out. Unless there's nothing but a box of rocks down there in the ground.
Well, their excuse is, and we'll cover this on another show. But their excuse is because of where he's buried, it's below sea level. And I shit you not, that's what they said, that the water moved the caskets around. And they can't prove from the water damage that he's buried there. Now, when I read that, I checked my bottle. I said, what the hell am I drinking? I said, well, it's water. I said, okay. So I asked my wife, I said, what does this say? And she read it. She goes, well, you read it right. Well, that don't make no sense. How's water?
Now,
what is he like a peanut underneath a bunch of shells and they're rolling around trying to slide a hand with David Copperfield?
If he's in southern Texas, I could almost believe that because my brother-in-law lives down there, and all their homes are on slabs. Because if you dig down about 2.5, 3 feet, you hit water.
Right.
So
and I'm thinking,
they put all their homes on slabs down there.
And he could have been waterlogged, but I'm pretty sure that the casket just didn't move.
I don't think it moved.
To another header.
No, it ain't freaking moving that much.
No,
Right.
so
If at
I mean
all.
the water damage. Okay,
yeah.
But he didn't.
They ain't going to move.
No, I
No.
mean, well, the devil got he got time to mess around with and juggle people around and shit. Because I mean, he could move some of my relatives closer to me if he's got time to do all that. You know, shuffle around. And, you know, comment there says that is kind of true. Look at the damage from Katrina. Yeah, the water table really rises and really falls down where he's buried at. We'll get into him another time though, but
yeah,
that's an interesting piece. I mean, you know, Jesse James. There's a lot of stories, and then you know, like he didn't rob veterans, for example, which that's kind of him. I always thought that's kind of him, not to rob a veteran. That's pretty good, you know. Then there's other stories though, and you see so many movies. The most accurate to me was the one with Brad Pitt in it, because Brad Pitt tends to do his research where he acts in a movie.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's one of them where they said he married his cousin, which she was, and then he went back and he came back and he lived a long, prosperous life. No, I don't think that was possible. So there you are, guys. That's your mystery segment for today. Jesse James. I've researched that dude. I was just fascinated by him all my life. I thought maybe I was just reincarnated. So I figured I didn't reincarnate people. So I'm not Jesse James, but I'd been proud to be him, but that just wasn't the way it was. Some of the news, you guys all know that the president spoke yesterday, good or bad or indifferent. He spoke. We got a lot of fallout from it. One of the things I want to comment real quick, I want to get you guys' opinion on it. If you watch the speech, there's a couple of times where the president honored a few people. Okay, there's a couple of women and a little boy, 13-year-old boy who had 6 brain surgeries or something like that on his head. He's a cop and they made him honorary CIA member. The problem is the Democrats didn't stand up and applaud any of that shit.
Yeah.
Not one of them.
The whole thing is we were talking about examples like the 95-year-old woman whose son just got released.
Marine,
that was being held hostage. We're talking about the young lady that got smacked in the face with volleyball and caused her brain damage. We're talking about the firefighter that got killed there at Trump's rally, and he put himself over his wife and 2 daughters. These were heroes. These were it was about American citizens, and they couldn't even recognize an American citizens are heroes, you know.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley's mother and sister were there.
Yes.
And there's another lady there who had a 12-year-old daughter that was viciously raped, beaten, and beaten again. And she said, I see what kind of people they are.
Yeah.
These are people that vote. These are people that couldn't give 2 shits about somebody's policy. Okay. Couldn't care about you being a Democrat or Republican. They just wanted you to acknowledge their child, and they didn't freaking do it.
Couldn't even do that. A 10-year-old boy that died brain cancer.
Screw if you like Trump or you don't like Trump.
About defying POTUS than what they were of actually, acknowledging what, the people that vote these folks into office.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. But you get what I'm saying, though.
And to set it up a little further.
It's ridiculous.
It is. To set it up a little further, 69% of Democrats, guys, wanted them to be recognized. 69%. So they're not even listening to their constituents. Okay. The night prior, they had a chance to vote men out of women's sports. Not one Democrat voted yes. Women showed up in their pink suits saying that they care a lot about women. Couldn't tell.
Yeah, right.
Really?
Couldn't tell. You fooled my ass. Okay.
Talk about hypocrisy to the max.
So I'm not, and I know the 3 of us, we don't really want to get political. That's not what we do on this channel. But when you watch this and they're telling you how great they are and how they champion women, but you see something clearly another way. What are you supposed to believe?
Last night wasn't a thing about Democrat or Republican or independent or whatever. It was about the American people. Was what it was about, and they couldn't even recognize and honor the American people that were being recognized last night, and they're not recognizing the large majority of the citizens of this country. So it's just, it was sad. It really was. It was really, really sad that they can't even come together long enough to celebrate in the victory of a 10-year-old boy beating brain cancer.
Yeah.
They couldn't even celebrate in that. That is sick. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
as far as I'm concerned, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, they just says, well, live or die, who cares? So you had brain cancer. So you beat it, whatever, They just,
one of them was caught rolling her eyes. One of the females, she was caught rolling her eyes when they were talking. I'm sorry, but if that had been my son and you did that, I'd had a case.
It would have been a lot more than your eyes just rolling.
We'd be going out behind the barn and having a little come to Jesus meeting, and only one of us is coming back.
Yeah, her eyes would have rolled all right and rolled to the top of her damn head because I've been choking her out.
Head on down the street.
Okay. Yeah. And we're not advocating bullying on here. We're just saying people, and then they had an old pimp, which I apologize to all the pimps all over the world. That was not a regular pimp, but he got threw out of his dam. Him and his pimp gang got threw out, which is cool as hell, right? They were all week dogging on how Trump.
Agreed.
they dogged all week how Trump was rude to Zelensky and when he threw him out. Okay, what about their guy?
The Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is thinking of censoring that Democrat senator from Texas. Which means if they censor him, okay, then if he messes up again, then they can remove him from office.
Well, if he leaves office, I want his cane. Yeah. That's not the most famous cane on TV. Okay. I want his cane. I will perform it on stage. I will walk with his cane up there.
I hope they do censor him, because if they censor him and he messes up and pulls a stunt like that again, they'll remove him from office. He won't be able to hold it anymore.
It was either Maine or Massachusetts. Who they censored. One of the females, one of their Republican females, who called a person, a transgender, a male instead of a female. She called him a male and took his pictures off the website now, public pictures, right? They censored her for stealing his pictures and calling him a male. Okay, so she got censored for telling the truth.
Yeah.
This guy, this old ass ugly pimp, okay, forgot his hat. I mean, his feather, right? This guy's in there showing his ass, right? He gets thrown out there. It was way worse than what she did. He needs to be censored.
It was an absolute disgrace the way they acted, and I would have said that if it would have been the Republicans doing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have condoned it all.
I wouldn't care. Don't matter. That is an area of our form of government that deserves respect, and I don't care which party that you are a member of. It's the chamber that and what it represents.
The opposite of the presidency. That's right.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
I mean,
I've been on record. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, it's like a few years ago, if you gentlemen recall, when Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene stood up during the State of the Union when Biden was in office, and she started belting shit out and everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. He was calling Biden out on his bullshit, and I agree with what she said. However, on the flip side of that, you don't do that during an address like that. You don't do it in a joint, address at Congress. No,
right.
That's not how the protocol goes.
No.
If I get you want to call them out or whatever, that's fine. Do the call out, but do it during the rebuttal afterwards. Speech is done.
Yeah.
You don't do it mid-speech.
No, you do it after the rebuttal. That's when
we're on record. We're on record of saying this. Now, I wasn't a Biden fan, but if Biden was president, he walked in front of me, I'd reach out and shake his hand and say, Mr. President, I'd acknowledge him as Mr. President, because as a veteran, we support the office of the presidency. Okay.
Right.
I don't care who's in it. The fact that he's the commander in chief, he's the top man in the food chain. The buck stops with his ass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Like him or not. So you have to respect him. I ain't one to shoot him and all that stupid crap. All that's ignorant. Okay. But showing your ass in there is no good no matter who does it. And that guy, at least he did, you know, point a cane a little bit, you know.
You may not respect the man.
A whole bunch of other stuff on it. He was doing, I think,
you know. Respect the man, but it's the office that gets the respect and what it stands for.
And we're getting away from that in this country.
And we're getting away from that. Yeah.
It is. And
you may not like the man that's in there, but the office itself and what it represents to this nation still deserves both sides, everybody's respect.
Yep, it does. You know, and the Democrats got a lot. They got a long way to go now. I mean, their approval ratings at 29, a fucking 29. Okay,
and going down.
Yeah, the Democrats got a lot of ways to go. So
how low that is internally.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when the CNN and the liberal news stations are trashing you. You know you messed up.
You talking about turncoat,
you messed up when MSNBC and NBC and ABC and CBS is trashing you. You know you messed up. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we wish him. We wish President luck and hope he has a great successful thing.
Yeah.
Because if he's successful, everybody's going to be successful. I mean, if he starts giving out free money, are the Democrats going to give their money back? No, they're going to take their money and put it in the pocket. If you're going to take the money, shut your pie hole.
Yeah, okay? That's right.
Shut up. So,
go away.
I'm just saying. As quiet as the Democrats were last night, I'm a little scared they're going to try to whack Trump. Yeah, but he did tell J.B. Vance that whoever whacks me, especially someone from another country, he said, I want you to rain down hellfire upon that country. So we're like, yeah, maybe we'll just let him go as foreign.
I about fell out of my chair when he called Elizabeth Warren last night Pocahontas.
Oh, I was I danced from my living room.
Okay. So speaking of calling people out was even funny. You know, you talk about with that, and I was actually here on my feed earlier today. I was actually thumbing through it, and I come across an excerpt from Dan Bongino show, which, if you don't know, his last show is coming up on the 14th here next week. Why? Because he was tapped to be deputy director of the FBI.
Right.
Anyhow, so he was talking about with the address and stuff last night, and one of the things that got brought up was talking about what's the biggest thing in politics when you're doing addresses like that gets the message out the furthest. Sound bites and snapshots, right? Yeah. And one of the things that got brought up was talking about with Al Green, with his, Representative Al Green with his outbursts that he had, and then Speaker of the House Johnson calling order onto the floor and giving him the boot because he couldn't put himself in the check. Well, at the same time as it's funny because now here, that's a soundbite. Now here comes a screenshot. In the very next moment, you see Speaker of the House Johnson with his head, he's got both hands on the desk. He's looking down like, God, I got to take care of these he's got that typical NCO look when your Joe's been jacking up. And it's like, really? I got to take care of these guys. And at the same time, POTUS is sitting there and he's got the biggest freaking grin on his face.
Yeah, he does.
And VP Vance is standing there, got a smirk on his face, giving him the boot, giving him the thumb over the shoulder, like, get this guy out of here. Get out of here. And there's a screenshot right there, dude. I lost it. I lost it while I saw it. I was like, oh my God. Nails it. It.
It was great. I watched the whole thing last night. It was one of the longest.
Set a record.
Yeah.
It was the longest.
Beat Bill Clinton.
Yep.
Yeah. And I just, there's another thing. Clinton shucked out how many government jobs did he eliminate when he became president his first week in office? Over 100,000. or 30,000, something like that. I know it was a ridiculous amount of number. Nobody said a word. Yep. Obama did the same thing. Nobody said a word.
Yeah, because the guy that was writing them the checks decided that he wasn't going to write them the checks anymore, and he changed his political affiliation from a D to an R. And they lost their minds. They completely lost their minds.
Right. Yeah. Right. So that's a little bit about what we got. What our news, guys. Well, we appreciate you all joining in, tuning in, and listening to us. Do. Our shows, we used to go 2 hours, and now we're doing an hour and something. Okay, we try to hold an hour, but we go over.
Hour and something. Okay.
Yeah. So we got more news next week. I'll have the flyer for the Maryville show next week as well. So tune in for that. J-Dub, since you're a guest brother tonight, you want to give us a closing?
Yes, would you?
No matter what you're going through, remember, life happens. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Doesn't cost a penny to be a decent human being. I mean, in light of everything, no matter what your politics are, we're all still Americans. So please, please, please have the decency to be respectful to each other at least. I mean, it's okay to meet in the middle and have a conversation. Make it a conversation, not a confrontation. And with that, I pass it off to you guys.
We've heard that before. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I totally agree with J-Dub there. I mean, good gosh. I mean, we're Americans, especially all of us veterans, We may not have served together, may not have served in the same time era, nothing like that. But as a good old movie line once said, we all ate the same dirt. Okay. So we're all brothers and sisters in arms. That's right. We were all baptized by fire. Okay. So, and that makes you a band of brothers and sisters, no matter where we're at in this country. And so stay strong, support each other, encourage each other. Remember that you are valuable. You mean something to somebody somewhere. You mean something to me, even if I don't even know who you are. I cherish you and respect you and what you stand for. I don't care which side of the political aisle you're on. You're important. Take care of yourself, okay? Because this world doesn't give two hoots sometimes, but we do. Care about yourself because you're important, even if it's to you. Somebody out there somewhere is going to lend you a hand. They're going to lend you an ear. Take it when it's given to you, okay?
Well said. Well said. Guys, it's this time of year now where the combine happened. So if you're a football fan, we got the draft coming up. We got, in this month, I think we got the March Madness. Get your brackets figured out, figure out who you can do your studying now, figure that out. If you guys want to start a league, that'd be great. Whatever. I'm in. We'll do that. We got the NFL draft. Now, J-Dub and I may do an opening day draft, and we may not. The may is, we're both capable and grown. We love doing it. The may not is, I might be shooting a movie around that time. Okay. According to Roy Anthony, we'll start shooting in April. I'm going to end up finishing in May. Okay. But you know how Hollywood is.
Change your name to Hollywood? Change your name to Hollywood?
No, it depends on how it goes. If the movie sucks, I didn't do it. That's not me. That's some other dude. That's some other
dude. I got Mama's birthday that week.
I can already see my back already hurts right now, but it's scheduled to hurt then. So I might not be able to do it. But so I don't know. But as far as it goes right now, yes, J-Dub and I plan on doing only one freaking day of the draft, and we ain't too much nerds. We don't want to do it every night. My God, that'd be incredible. So we plan on doing that. But you're not worthless. You have value. Got any questions about anything? Will you get any information tonight? Look it up.
Yeah,
look it up. Google's free. For now, usually it gives good information. So, but you have to pick and choose and watch what you read. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I noticed today the correct numbers have been released upon another suicide in this country. We're all for veteran suicide on here. We want it to stop. We don't want the teens to commit suicide. Well, now the transgender suicide, like we suspected, is up, and it doubled in its rates. So listen to me carefully. If you're a person who has identity disorder, I didn't even know that's even such a freaking thing, but identity disorder, don't go have the surgery yet until you're 18 years old or you're 21, where you're old enough to understand the consequences. Right. Kids get these surgeries now, and a lot of them are the men, and they can't go back, and they get depressed. It ain't depressed because they're getting picked on. It's depressed because they can't go back, and so they commit suicide. So I'm not telling you guys not to do that. That's your business, whatever. But just put some thought in it. Yeah, make up your own mind. Don't let peers and schools and your mothers and fathers to push you into something. You don't want to do it, don't do it. You need help, get help. Because this is fun. Caitlyn Jenner or Bruce Jenner, he's mad. He can't go back. He knows he's stuck. There's nothing he can do. He wishes that he never did it.
And he was a grown man when he had that done.
Grown man. Yep. I remember he was on the Wheaties box. You know, everybody remember how great an athlete he was for a white dude. He could run. He was a track guy.
Yeah. So, he could run. He could swim. He could do everything. He could do it all.
He was Mike before Mike was cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to be like Mike.
He was he was Bo before Bo was cool. Bo Jackson. Everyone would be like Bo Jackson. Well, yeah.
Bo knows.
And if you're out there and you're on the fence about voting for keeping men out of girls' sports, which shouldn't even be a no-brainer, think of it this way. Imagine your two 18-year-old daughters are boxers. Imagine me putting on a dress and getting in the ring with
them. I got this vision in my mind. I can't get out now, Rich.
You're welcome. I won't shave or nothing. I'll stay hairy so we can all I'll wear some drawers. Okay. I'm just saying. That's what it's like. Even though I'm 53, the science is real. There's no woman on the planet stronger than me. There's just not. I'm big and strong. J-Dub's big and strong. Alan, when in his day, he was stout. There's no normal biological woman our strength. It's impossible. They're not designed that way. Okay. We're designed for battle. They're designed not to battle. Okay. And if we're gonna beat women now, why don't we just take all the age restrictions off everything? Just let it be a free for all.
Yeah.
Everybody smoke when you want, drink when you want, buy guns when you want to. Buy all the porn you want to buy all these things you want to buy. There's no age limits no more. Okay.
Yeah.
And let's just go. I guarantee you within 6 months, there'll be some new laws on the books protecting the women, and we should protect these women, and we should protect these children.
Absolutely.
All right. So that's enough of our soapbox. I'm Richie Redneck Pip King, the bad man of comedy. On behalf of J-Dub, our guest who's welcome here anytime, and my co-host, my friend, my compadre, who didn't have issues today. Okay.
I didn't have issues. Yeah.
The commander.
Well, I've always got issues. I have computer issues. Okay.
yeah. Now that I got a good setup, I don't have to worry about that so much. Now I'll pass it on to you. And you guys take care of yourselves. We'll see you next Wednesday, 7:00. All right. Okay. Stay safe. The weather's getting better, guys. It's getting better.
Yes, it is.
Don't fall yet, though. Don't fall for the witch's tricks.
Don't fall for the witch's tricks. Don't turn your back on Mother Nature yet.
Remember,
we're in
she's
fall
bipolar.
spring. Fall spring.
She's bipolar. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
The only woman I condone kicking the ass is Mother Nature's ass, but don't tell her I said that. All right. You guys take care of yourselves.
Okay.
We'll see you.